Soundcheck.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the first ever edition of Pump Room Presents Soundcheck. Today we have India's pride, the one and the only weird sounding dude. Welcome, man.
Thank you. It's good to be here. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm super looking forward to it. I just looked at the vibe on upstairs, and it looks amazing. And I can't just get on the stage and start playing.
Amazing. So you're from Bangalore. You've obviously lived here for most of your life,
Right.
And played music here for a long time.
Right.
What do you think has changed over the past few years since you've started playing? And what's been sort of the evolution of the scene since you've started playing?
Right. When I started, there were a handful of venues which used to support underground music.
Right.
And it's really amazing to see a lot of venues now supporting underground music. Also, a lot of new talents like yourself,
Right.
and
Thanks, man.
like all the Slate boys as well. And it's really good to see that. And people coming
Right.
out in good numbers, supporting the scene, and which is helping the scene grow. And I can definitely see the scene becoming better and better
Right.
over the period of time. And it's definitely going towards the good direction.
Right. Amazing. That's so good to hear. And thank you for the call out, bro. Really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about your early years, right? What was your childhood like growing up here in Bangalore, and how did it influence your love for music?
So I basically come from a non-musical background.
Okay.
I don't have any musical influence. I used to be more of a sports person. I used to be an athlete.
Wow.
And I also used to play cricket for my school and college.
Wow.
And the whole music thing started when I accidentally bumped into Armin van Buuren's ASOT,
Right.
A State of Trance
Right.
podcast on Radio Indigo.
Right.
And the whole concept of playing music continuously is what sort of triggered me into researching what DJing is all about. And that's how I discovered the whole DJing scene. And I started by fiddling around with virtual DJ. I don't know if you know that software.
Of course.
So I started using that software a lot first, and then I joined a school called I Love Music,
Okay.
which was in Indranagar back then.
Right.
And I learned my DJing there.
Okay.
And that's how the whole DJing career started. You can
Amazing.
say. Yeah.
So, talking about early years, I know that you actually used to play a different genre of music completely from what
Right,
you're playing right
right,
now.
right.
And that's actually where your name sort of originated, right?
yeah.
I don't know if a lot of your fans actually know about this, right?
Right.
You were actually a minimal
Right,
techno
right,
DJ, right.
right.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, so when I was learning DJing at the school back then, and all the other students who used to come and practice with
Right.
me, so they used to play a lot of minimal, and that's how I discovered that genre. And I also started following their footsteps. So I used to play some minimal and some tech house here and there. And the sounds in minimal techno really got my interest, and because it was really unique
Right.
back then for somebody who's not been exposed to electronic dance
Right.
music as much as I'm exposed to now. And that's how the whole name of Weird Sounding Dude came into picture.
Right.
Post that, as every artist evolves, I also started to evolve, and I started discovering different styles of music, and that's how I stumbled on to progressive house.
Right.
And ever since then, I've been like a huge fan of that sound,
Right.
and I've been following that sound for a really long time now.
Right. So what really kind of made that shift? Like, was it just the exposure? Was it just the vibe of the music?
It was a particular track that came out on a compilation called as Balance Mix.
Wow.
So Balance is like a huge compilation
Right.
within the progressive house,
Right.
not just progressive, towards the electronic house space, where they invite artists to release some special remixes or some originals. And over there, I basically heard a track from Guy J.
Yeah. Of course. Who else? Who else?
And yeah, of course. And yeah, so that particular track from Guy J, it was a remix for this producer called Navar. The melodies in the track really is what struck to me. And yeah, that one track was enough for me to change my path completely and start focusing more towards progressive house and focusing and discovering more artists from that space and more labels from that space. And I started producing music towards that style.
Wow, amazing. I mean, talk about an influence, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, all it takes is just one track.
Lovely. Abhi, so my first sort of interaction with you was through TMS, the music school, where I was a student and obviously you were a faculty. You were teaching music. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What was that experience like to teach someone what you love something so dearly?
So I used to work as a civil engineer before this, and then I quit that job and I joined the music school as a production faculty back in 2015. And it's been wonderful because apart from teaching students, you get to learn from them as well. Because every day when you're teaching people, you get to learn from them. There might be some things that I might not know that another person might know. And it's always like a give and take sort of an experience. And apart from me sharing my knowledge, whatever I had back then with my students, I've been receiving knowledge also from them, which has helped me grow as a producer. And not just towards the production field as well, which has helped me become a better person. It definitely, some qualities working with that wonderful staff definitely helps you to become a better person as well. Learn a lot of things behind the scene which you are not aware of, and meet new people, make new friends like yourself, and it's really great. And I'm lucky that I got that opportunity, and I'm ever so grateful for that.
Do you ever plan to go back to that, or are those days kind of behind you?
So I don't plan on going back to an institution and getting back into that faculty zone where you're working from a particular set of hours of time. But I do love teaching, and I've continued to do that by myself. Where I personally teach students online, and it's been good. Like I don't really focus on that much. I just take whatever inquiries come in. I just do that, and that's pretty much it.
Got it. Great. One really important and cool thing that I want to talk about was your track Hyperdream. I mean, everybody knows it. Everybody's been talking about it. And even Tony McGuinness himself from Above and Beyond called it the track of the year in 2021. I mean, my God. That's a big deal, man. A dream come true for anyone. How does it feel?
So, it was definitely a dream come true for me, that track especially. And it all started, I think, during COVID, I think Tony started those deep sets. Where he started supporting a lot of progressive house and organic house artists.
Those sets got all of us through COVID.
That was really helpful. And that's how the whole relationship became with Tony. So I started sending him some music, and out of few tracks, he basically got back to me with Hyperdream, which again was sort of like a miss and hit chance, because I have this very bad habit of deleting projects, So after a certain point of time, if I don't get response from a label or from an artist once I send out demos, I have this bad habit of where I just go and delete that track.
No way.
So I think I was almost about to delete that song. I was and that day afternoon, I got an email from Tony saying, "Hey man, you know what? I think we might like this. Just give us a couple more days time, and I'll get back to you." And then they vanish again for few weeks. And then I just write a follow-up email, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do this." And that track also was really special because it got released on Explorations 20, which was like their anniversary pack for that particular series. So that was also really special. And then this was like a cherry on the cake. So I never expected that. And then when I bumped into it, I had to pinch myself twice to I just was reading the thing again just to make sure that it was my track that he picked. And it still amazes me how I did that track together and how it all came through.
I mean, it's a fantastic track. Like it speaks for itself,
Yeah.
and the way that it's connected with so many people across the
yeah.
globe, it's
Yeah.
just beautiful. And also, it's a proud moment for us, man. Like being friends with you and being part of the community. You've represented us on a global level, and obviously with Anjuna, it makes all of us really proud,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more about your music, right?
Yeah.
How do you describe it? Like, what are the emotions behind it? Just talk a little bit about that.
See, basically for me, like when music generally has to hit people's soul, right? And the only way to do it is one of the only ways to do it is through melodies and through harmonies, through chords and through leads or hooks or whatever. Like if I ask you what's your favorite track, there'll be a particular track, and the first thing that comes to your head will be the melody of it.
Right.
And that's the only catchy part that you will remember mostly. If there's no vocals involved in it. So for me, my music is generally that first, and then comes the groove, which is like the standard thing for club music in general, because that's what keeps the dance floor going.
Right.
And melodies is what gives that audience that moment, and makes them remember.
Right.
Like when a DJ plays your track,
Yeah.
at least a couple of them will be like, hey, this is that guy's track.
Yeah.
This is this person's track.
Right.
So I feel it is because of that melodies and because of those chords is what, or vocals, is what people will remember.
Right.
And that's how you create like a timeless track as well.
Right. I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because there is a lot of conversation around the sort of repetitive nature of progressive house in general, right? So, do you feel that's the case? Do you feel that the music is a little bit too repetitive? Because not everyone thinks the way that you're thinking, right? Focusing on melodies and then, big moments and drops and all of that. So, yeah, I'm curious.
Right. So if you see dance music in general, doesn't matter what genre it is meant to be repetitive. Also, it is proven on the dance floor, like when you see people dancing, you will see them doing repetitive steps.
Right.
They're just moving their body like this, or just grooving.
Right.
So that repetitive nature is what is club music is.
Right.
What makes it really interesting and unique is the things that you add on top of it, like leads or vocals if you're adding vocals, or like chords, melodies and things, or the way you experiment with different instruments, or with different synthesizers. That is what would be the other component of dance music. So the groove needs to be repetitive.
Right.
And I would feel like maybe what you're trying to suggest is probably the arrangement, like the way the track is structured and things like that. I feel that's more like a formula, like how pop music has a general formula when we speak about arrangement.
Right.
There is intro, bridge, verse, chorus.
Right.
So that formula always works.
Right.
So similarly, different styles have different formulas, but there are certain producers who like to experiment with that formula of arranging sections in a different way, still keeping it DJ friendly so that a DJ can mix in and mix out.
Right.
And also at the same time try and make it less boring or less monotonous by introducing elements and by maintaining that tension in music and that energy in music.
Amazing.
It's similar to how you build a DJ set.
Right.
You just go up and down.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Just carrying on with this theme, everybody is making very similar kind of, in terms of sounds, right? Everybody has the same weapons available in terms of what they can make and what they can do. So how is it that some really talented artists like yourself are able to get your music onto some of these top labels, right? There are so many other artists as well who are doing a wonderful job, but they just aren't able to kind of reach that level, those really kind of top labels across the world, like Anjuna and so many others that you've released on. What advice do you have specifically for that?
I feel the first thing that you need to do is, like, once you're a bit well versed in the production circuit and once you have like few tracks, you're able to produce a few tracks, doesn't matter whether you're releasing it or not, that is totally left to you.
Right.
You need to start developing your own signature sound, and that needs to come through sound design.
Right.
So like you mentioned, every producer has the same plugins or the
Right.
same preset bank. So if you're just going to be lazy and just use like a particular plugin and
Right.
a particular preset because you saw some YouTube video, like how to make track like XYZ producer or
Right.
things like that, and if you just restrict yourself to that sound, then the process is going to be slower for you. You will reach that milestone. Obviously, everybody's going to reach
Right.
that milestone. Everybody will eventually release on their dream labels. It's just that if you just work a bit harder now and try and focusing on your sound, trying to get into that plugin a bit more,
Right.
and focus a bit more on sound design and not just keep adding elements just cause you have the freedom to add more and more elements.
Right.
Just stick to the basics, and I think that definitely works.
Right.
And the other thing which is really important is being consistent, irrespective of what other work you have.
We know that you are damn consistent, man. I mean, you're probably releasing so much music
Right.
so regularly as well, right? I mean, that's absolutely a key when it comes to not just kind of getting better at your craft, but just also getting to know yourself also a little bit through the music and your own unique sound, like you mentioned, right? So kudos on that, man. And how do you get so much time to make so much music? I know you're also a family man. So tell us a little bit about that, man.
I mean, you just got to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
You just have to be disciplined and just make sure you do it.
Right.
End of the day, don't treat it like a work sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Make sure you give it some time, at least 15-20 minutes a day. I think that's more than enough. And it's not like you have to sit down and make a track in one sitting. You can just work by section, and I'm sure within a week you'll have something.
So what does your average day kind of look like these days?
So apart from once I'm done with all my shows and things like that, I get maybe a couple of hours. That's enough for me with the given amount of years that I've dedicated.
Right.
I think 1-2 hours is more than enough for me
Right.
to put a track together.
Right.
And then I can fine tune it maybe in another half an hour or so, or maybe I can do the whole thing in 1 hour, 2 hours. Depends.
Wow. Abhi, it's very obvious that you are the flag bearer of electronic music
One
from
of the
our
flag
country. Okay, I'll give you that. One of the flag bearers. There's already so much that you've achieved, right? What are some of your next goals, man, and how do you plan to achieve them?
The next thing that I'm planning to do is obviously take my sound to different parts of the world, which I already started working towards that. So last year I went to Australia and New Zealand.
Right.
Also Bangladesh,
Right.
which was a very unique experience and very good experience.
I'm sure.
And Sri Lanka has become like a second home for me.
Right.
I keep going there every
Right.
year or once in 6-7 months. This year I'm planning to go to Europe and UK, do some shows there.
Lovely.
And hopefully within the next few years try and go to US,
Right.
do some shows there as well. And obviously all this is happening because of the music that I've been producing and because of all the love that people have been showing towards my music. It wouldn't have been possible without all their support and all the promoters like you yourself and the other promoters that I've worked with. Their constant support is what is helping me grow one step at a time. And I like to grow this way because I'm being again consistently doing things, which is always better than just taking like a one shot ride up the mountain and then not knowing what to do.
Right. Makes sense completely. And what do you feel are some of the challenges that are currently plaguing the industry in India specifically?
Right.
And then what are some of your recommendations to solve them as well?
Right. I think maybe the challenges would be the opportunities to perform. I think that shouldn't stop you from achieving your dream or getting closer to your dream, because when you're producing music, it's all you. It's all in your hands. The laptop is with you, your speakers are with you. You can just sit down and make stuff. I feel for getting shows, you need to go out, meet people, start connecting with them. Not just with the mindset to get shows, but with go with a mindset because you like what they're doing support their scene from the heart,
Right.
and just try and be part of that family,
Right.
and try and grow together.
Right.
Yeah, I feel that's the only solution,
Right.
which is there, because there is opportunities. There are a lot of venues, right? Like I mentioned, when I started playing underground music, there were just hardly a couple of
Right.
venues, which was now everybody wants to support.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of opportunities. I feel you just need to knock at the right door and be there, be present as well to grab that opportunity.
And continuously knock
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
doors
right,
as well.
right. Be consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely not a short-term thing, right?
Right,
We
right.
all know that.
Right.
And you just gotta be, like you said, just continually.
And it's
just
not
be
going to
consistent.
happen overnight.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen overnight.
Right.
You need to keep doing things,
Right.
because more and more you keep doing it,
Yeah.
the better you will become, and obviously you start growing as well.
Yeah, but it's all like it's everybody knows this, right? But
Right.
it's still just like everyone's just so impatient and
I feel it's just the mindset.
Yeah.
If you just change the mindset,
Right.
like if you, let's say you join a corporate
right,
field,
right,
you're not going to be promoted as a
Right.
CEO or whatever
Agreed.
within one day. Right?
Agreed.
You need to work hard,
Agreed.
and you need to grab the opportunities
Right.
that you get there, and similarly here as well.
right.
Yeah, I feel that's the only key to grow.
So you've been with Submerge for a little bit now,
Right.
and we get a lot of questions around what is the value and what is the role of a management team.
Right.
So maybe you can just talk about that a little bit as well. What's your relationship with them, and what sort of value addition happens both ways in that.
It's definitely been a huge boost for me joining Submerge. I mean, Submerge being Submerge, who's
course.
like the pioneers who sort of like introduced the whole electronic music scene, like Nikhil,
Right.
Ahmed, Pearl, and all these guys to us, and it all started through them. I think they are a huge inspiration,
Right.
and I feel really lucky to be part of this team.
Right.
It's definitely helped me a lot in terms of my DJing, in terms of getting shows, and also in terms of networking with other producers, other labels, artists, and also other managements
Right.
towards other parts of the world. Because of the strong networking that they have,
Right.
It's definitely helped me grow as an artist.
Amazing.
And also all the advisors that Nikhil,
Yeah.
Naved,
Right.
Pearl, and Amit, all the advisors that they've shared.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
definitely
sure.
helped me grow. Yeah.
Amazing. One really important question that I want to ask that I got from a lot of your fans. So we
Right,
sent
yeah.
out a poll, and a lot of people reached out with a lot of questions.
Okay.
This was the one that was asked the most.
Okay.
What is your hair care routine? I'm sorry, I had to ask it only because it was asked so many times.
Definitely, you don't want my advice on that, because maybe you can let people know, what they can do to maintain a good hair routine. Because if I start giving in my advice, then everybody's going to look like me, and you don't want that. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Obviously, just a joke. But thanks for being a good sport. Last, just a couple of questions, Abhi. What are you working on right now? So, what are some of your next releases that you have planned? Of course, you mentioned that you're planning to tour multiple other parts of the country
Right.
in the coming months and years. What music and what else can we expect from you in the coming few months?
Music-wise, I have like a couple of EPs that is set to release in June and July. It's coming out on Alex Oran's label. One is on that label, and there's another EP that I can't really share right now, but I'll probably announce it closer to the date. And then a few remixes that are lined up.
Right.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm busy towards that end.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, that's it, Abhi. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for your time. We absolutely love you. We love your music. We're so proud to be associated with your journey, and we wish you all the best, man.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me. And looking forward once again for tonight. Let's have a good one.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Hey, I'm doing your job today, bro.